Hey everybody, Mike Steele here with Barbecue Champs. We got a great show lined up for you tonight with Mr. Charles and Mr. Steve, both off big grand champion wins this weekend. And it was really great cooking with Charles up in Henrietta, Texas. Went up there for a little cook-off this weekend to see if we can make that bounty. Outlaw Bounty Hunters top 4 that's going to advance to the Outlaw Cook-Off this December coming up. And we needed to get a few more points than Jeff White and Bobby Oliver. We all three were tied at 22 points. So I just needed to be at least 1 point better than them. So I had a pretty good finish. We had a first place chicken, third place brisket, sixth place rib, first, third, and sixth. Would have usually held up pretty well for a grand, but Charles won up me. He got a first, second, and sixth. He beat me by 1 point. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time up there. Town rolled out the red carpet for all the cooks, and we had a wonderful time up there with a lot of our friends and stuff. And we had never cooked that far up North Texas before, but it was a lot of fun. And we ended up getting 11 more points added to our 22, so that got me into that number 4 spot in that automatic shot for the Outlaw Bounty Hunt Cook-Off they're going to have in December over in Denton, Texas. In the meantime, we're going to get a few of our folks in here and see what y'all been up to. I hope everybody's been doing well. I was under the weather pretty bad last week, and then on top of that, we had lost internet service, so we didn't even have internet last week. We had 10 inches of rain in about a day and a half, and everything flooded. So I was not able to have our show last week, but I'm glad that everybody is with us this week, and as you come in, please let us know, and we're going to get this show kicked off. Gordon, thank you for being here from Cleveland. Darren, thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. John, glad you're doing well. Mike from the stormy tundra. Yeah, it was some pretty bad weather here. Last couple days, Tuesday and Wednesday was really bad. We had about a 2 foot of water on the road coming into my house, and it took about a day and a half for it to go down. We got a lot of rain at one time, and usually when it rains that hard, it'll kind of flood this area. It runs everything in South Shreveport runs off into a lake that's just south of town, and when that lake fills up, it's a small little lake, it backs up, and my neighborhood's one of the ones that it backs up on. So anyway, it's all good. We had a good time, got out, cooked, and that's all that counts. So Sam, glad you're joining us today. RJ, thank you for being here. Miss Brenda, we appreciate you being here, and nice to see you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nice to see you. Glad you're joining us. Mr. Carlos, thank you for joining us, brother. We appreciate you being here. We got Jennifer in the house. Thank you for joining us as well. And I'm sure you're going to get a chance to see Mr. Steve here just shortly. John, thank you all the way from Alaska. We appreciate you being here. We got Mark on here from New Zealand. Man, I tell you what, we cover quite a bit. We cover pretty much well from New Zealand to Australia, from the East Coast to the West Coast. But Mark, we appreciate you being here. It's always great to have visitors from the other countries joining us. So good morning over there. AJ, glad to have you with us, brother. And congratulations on your run that you had for that bounty as well. Carlos said, congratulations, Mike, on a great weekend. Yep, it was pretty dadgum good. I was definitely excited and a little bit nervous because I knew we had some good competition to go up against, and you just never know. I just had 2 guys that I was trying to beat, and I didn't care how I finished in the cook. I just needed to be 1 point better than them, and we got lucky, so we'll take it. Let's see, Nick, yeah, appreciate you being here, Nick. AJ tuning in and while mowing the yard. Hey man, that right there is dedication, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate you doing that. Brisket cases in the house. Go big sexy. Clay, appreciate you being with us. Matt, thank you for joining us tonight. Let's see. Thanks, Mike. Glad we're both in. Yeah, I don't have to worry about trying to chase that anymore because I wasn't chasing it. It was something that they take the best 4 cooks. I know a lot of the guys cook 4 and 5 cook-offs, and they take your best 4 in the top 4 points. Or the top 4 cooks with the most points is the ones that they're going to use. I only had 3 cooks, and but I had a first, a second, and a third in those 3 cooks. Got me enough points, got me 33 points, and that was enough to just squeak me into the top 4. So I'm glad you got in, AJ. It's going to be a lot of fun come December. Who else we got? Carl, thank you for joining us tonight. And Bobby, thank you for being with us tonight, Bobby. We appreciate you as always. We're going to have a good trivia question here for everybody tonight. So Keep your skills honed in and sharpened. We're going to give away our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. So don't forget about that. We're going to have a good question for you. Lucas joining us from Australia. So we got Australia in the house. We got New Zealand in the house. And we really do appreciate you guys getting up early in the morning to hang out with us and listen to a little bit of our podcast. Mr. Stephen Peacock, thank you for joining us, brother. I tell you right now, Stephen, I think you got a good shot for this second leg. I'm going to say the top two that we've all predicted last night on the Outlaw podcast was Erica and James teaming up, or you. And I don't know, man, you've been cooking lights out, and I think you got a very, very, very good shot of winning that thing. So thank goodness you only had 3. I might have had a second or third if you had 4. I don't know, man. You cook pretty dadgum good. You had some good cooks yourself. So I'm glad that we're in. That's all that counts. Don't matter what position we're in. That's it. So, Tony, thank you for joining us as well. Let's see. It's 10 a.m. It's not too bad. All right. Well, that ain't too bad. So, anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead. We got about 28,000 folks on here now. So, we're going to bring in our guest. First one we're going to bring in is Mr. Charles himself. Charles in charge this weekend, because me and him, man, we were having a pretty good duke out there in Henrietta. And Charles, man, congratulations on that big GC, man.
Thanks.
It was definitely a lot of fun. When we were going through the calls, I mean, I know when I got the third place brisket, I looked at Suzette and I was like, that's got me in grand. I said, I think the only person can maybe beat me is Charles.
And I don't usually cook brisket very good. But my new brisket rub has been man, it's been doing very well for me.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about all of his rubs. He's got several, and I think it's going to be I think it's pretty good. He gave me one to try, and it was amazing. But yeah, I mean, you snuck it in. You got that second place brisket, and that first, second, and sixth beat that first, third, and sixth that I had. So it was a lot of fun. And, man, that's the kind of competitions I like. So, anyway, we got you on. Congratulations on that big grand champion. And then we also have a first-time grand champion. We got Mr. Steve Siebeneicher. Did I get that right, Steve? Let me bring him in. I clicked the name at him. Did I get it right?
Yes, sir.
Siebeneicher. So Steve Siebeneicher, Wild Thing Cookers. I know you have to be ecstatic. You went down to Fort Worth, Texas this weekend, the Smokedown Syndicate. Great competition down there. How many teams did they end up having, Steve?
Ended up with 65 teams.
65 teams. Yeah. Got your first grand champion, which is absolutely awesome. And we're gonna hear a little bit about all of that as well. So let's kind of dive on into that. I mean, I've been around a while. I know Charles has been around. We've cooked for a long time. Steve, I haven't seen you on the cook trail a whole lot. And tell us a little bit about how long you've been cooking and how things have been going with that.
All right. Well, I got involved with Brisket Cases. They do the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and I got involved with them. 2016 was my rookie year with them. And pretty much handled just Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and kind of dabbled a little bit in some smaller cooks. But a buddy of mine, Scott Lusk, brought me on board and started cooking, following around Clay Wright, Bobby Riggs, Lloyd. They've been out on the trail running with Brisket Cases. And I just kind of was washing dishes, helping out. And then last year I decided, you know what, I think I want to give this a shot. So I took a few courses through Barbecue Champs Academy. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then right after that, I did a shadow class with Adam, Get Up Chucky. Mm-hmm. And during that time, right after that, I had to go have back surgery. So I was down for a little while. So I didn't actually start till September. August or September of last year is when I started cooking.
Okay. How many cook-offs have you done?
I've done 6 total.
6 cook-offs and already got your first GC.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 of those I placed in the top 10. I got an RGC, a 3rd overall, an 8th overall, and then I hit that GC this weekend.
Wow. That's pretty solid in 6 cooks, an
Very
RGC,
good.
a GC, and a couple more top 10s in your first 6 cooks. Wow.
Been very blessed. Very blessed.
Yes. Well, you did the right thing. I'm not going to say that, people don't do well taking barbecue champ classes, but I tell you right now, they definitely shorten the learning curve. And if you just follow that stuff, it's pretty much what going to get you some good walks.
It
So,
does. Didn't have any experience cooking on drums, and so I took the classes to try to get the basics down, and then I've been tweaking some things myself, and
right.
It slowly got better because my first cook, I was like, I got a second place brisket, but I ended up 24th overall. So,
right.
And then I just kind of started honing in and paying attention, getting the timing down, and everybody's been so gracious, and this whole barbecue thing is just really wild because it's like a big family out there.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of people that's willing to kind of help steer you in the right direction. They may not give you 100% of a recipe, but they're going to help you with little things. I always try to help somebody with fire management. I think that's one of the biggest things that new cooks coming in that really have a hard time struggling trying to control and stuff like that is just
exactly
the fire. Fire management is huge. Being able to hit your turn in times and being organized to have that, I think that's another thing that gets cooks in trouble. Don't you agree, Charles?
Oh yeah. I've missed one in my whole time, and I was mad.
Yeah. I've been fortunate enough. I've never missed a turn in, but I've tried to be very, very thorough. I've got a very good strict timeline that I follow, and just get ahead of the curve. That's the biggest thing. So if you ever get behind, you're in trouble. Especially for KCBS, it's not as hard when you got hour and a half turn ins. But man, you get 30-minute turn ins, you can forget it. So let's see. Steve is a great cook, but even better person. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, I appreciate that, RJ.
Yeah,
appreciate
RJ's
that.
There. So 60 teams was there. Tell us a little bit about this cook-off that they have there in Fort Worth. I've never been to it. I've heard it is a lot of fun. What's the big deal with it? I know they've got a lot of deals. I've heard that they bring in maybe celebrity judges in the final round. Have you heard of this, or did that happen?
Yeah, they had a couple of celebrity judges over there. I can't remember the lady's name, but she's on Pitmaster.
Leanne Whippen.
Yes.
Leanne Whippen. I saw her.
So she was there. They had capped it off at 70 teams, and I think there were 65 that ended up showing up. I hadn't been there before. Brisket Cases was going. I thought, you know what, I'm going to tag along, cook beside them. And so we all went, and it's a great venue because they're putting it on for FHA and 4-H and FFA group over there. They had 3 different stages. They had bands playing. It was just a really, really great event, the biggest one that I've been on. So definitely looking forward to going back next year.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Charles, have you ever cooked in that event?
No, I have not. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I know there was a cook at Fort Worth Stockyards a while back, and that could have been the same cook. It just so happened to land on a weekend that I was going somewhere else. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's pretty neat. I haven't got a chance to cook it. I know some people that have, and they said it's a lot of fun, and it's kind of tight getting your trailer into some of them spots that they have there. But man, yeah, Clay just put the payout. So, how many bones did you pick up off of that little event?
Oh, it was total cash prize was $7,650.
That's just a nice little chunk of change to be able to pick up on your 6th competition. So
not a bad day's work.
That's a pretty good day's work right there, man. Congratulations. That is flipping awesome.
Thank you.
Wow.
Again, I definitely feel blessed and overjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. Got Doodle Q on here as well. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
Charles.
They even gave away Twisted X boots. They gave away two pairs of boots for first place on each meet, and then 2 pairs of boots on GC. So I hit a first place ribs. I got 2 pair of boots, and then when I hit the GC, I got two more pair of boots.
Okay, dang.
So, and then Cinch was giving away gift cards for for Cinch Jeans. Got 2 of those. So it was, like I said, it was overwhelming.
I bet. Wow.
I bet. Yeah.
Steve said it's a pretty good cook-off. Yeah, Stephen, I think cooked last year. So, man, that is absolutely awesome to be able to go in there and do something like that on 6 cook-offs. And, man, you already got a grand, a reserve, and 2 or 3 other top 10 finishes in a second-place brisket, your first cookout. That's pretty awesome. I remember my first cook I ever did was in Carrollton, right there in Dallas. It was a state championship back in 2013. I had a first place brisket, my first competition with 49 teams, and needless to say, it was set. So
Yeah, you're hooked then.
I'm hooked. Yeah, we're gonna keep. I told Suzette we're gonna keep doing this. This was a lot of fun. So anyway, wow. Well, Charles, let's hear a little bit about Bury the Bones. So let's hear a little bit about what you've had going on. I know you had a pretty big year last year. You was definitely hitting some GCs out the park and done pretty well. And then, what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, we did. Last year, I ended up with 6 GCs at state championships.
Yep.
And I think 9 GCs total. Some of them were.
Mike, I'm having a little problem with his little video.
What's that?
I'm having a problem with Charles' video. It's
you can't see
it. It's like stuck.
Okay, it's not on our end, so it may be something on your end. It's good.
Okay.
You're good, Charles.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough again, as he said, to be able to cook with some good people. I've taken the very first class I took. We won it at a drawing.
Right.
And that was, man, I can't remember when that was. It's been quite a while back. It was Lance Moore.
Okay.
And then I took Jeff Wyatt's class. And then from there, I mean, I took Travis Clark's.
Okay.
Main reason for Travis Clark's was flavors.
Right.
Trying to work on different things. By far, I took Aaron Leslie's class when he had it at Ugly Drum Smokers of Texas, Stephen Piles.
Right. Right.
I took it over there. I still use some of Aaron's products.
Right.
Some, what you notice is sometimes recipes don't translate from stick burners to drums.
Right.
And so it takes the more experience to try to weed all that out.
Yeah.
Probably my most successful class by far has been Philip Breeden.
Okay.
The stuff that I learned from him, everybody says classes are all the same, but they're not. There's a lot of things, just little stuff that you pick up that really helps. He's always there if I need a question, if I have a question, but I know his stuff inside and out, and he invited me to the Jack. I've got to run his pit at a couple of classes.
Right.
I got to help him at the Jack and everything else, but I mean, I know everything he's doing. So the whole thing is before he even asks for something, it's in my hand.
Right.
He is an absolutely phenomenal person, and he is one hell of a cook.
Yeah. You can't deny Phil.
No.
Yeah. Phil goes off and wins a trailer this weekend. How many people can say I won a $60,000 RV this weekend?
That's what he said. They had a cool trophy.
Right.
Yeah, he got a cool trophy. It's just a $60,000 RV, and of course he goes in and wins it, and Bill reserves it. So it doesn't surprise me that them two guys are teaming up over there and win that one. And congratulations to them. I was going to get to that as well, but. Yeah, that was the perfect segment to drag that in. So yeah, Phil is an incredible guy. So
yeah, I think it was Bob at the cook-off. Bob was talking about that. Who you think's going to win Arlington? I said, well, either Phil's going to win and Bill's going to reserve, or Bill's going to win and Phil's going to reserve. And that's what happened.
Yeah. I
And
kind of seen they had a good shot at it. That's for sure. Especially when it
Bill
comes to
Purvis is
CBA.
another one. I've never
Yeah.
taken a class from him or anything else, but man, he cooks on drums. I cook on drums.
Mhm.
We talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of the things with the rubs that I've developed for my brisket rub and stuff like that, I developed them to work with drums.
Right.
There's some rubs you use that your brisket will turn out steaky,
Yep.
just because it's not made for that direct heat.
Right.
And I don't get me, I'm not no chemist, so I have no
Right.
clue why it does it, but it does it.
Yeah.
And I dealt with that for probably, I'm not one to change recipes. I'm not one of these people that goes out and cooks and says, well, that didn't work, and do something totally different the next time.
Right.
I may make small tweaks,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, pretty much everything stays the same.
Yep.
And man, I kept getting comment after comment after comment about it, my brisket tasting steaky. And I've hit with them.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I get comments from people that I trust, that
Right.
I have tasted and say, does it still taste steaky? I've gone to, man, you need to use lump charcoal. I've used Kingsford Blue from get to go. Always. Always.
Right.
So maybe you need to use lump. So I switched to lump. No, it still tasted
Still the
steaky.
same. Yeah.
So I narrowed it down to what it was. But needless to say, I've taken, it took me probably, oh, good Lord. Yeah, I gave you some beer.
Yeah, you did.
Uh, it probably took me about 7 chuck roasts to get it to where I liked it.
Right.
But it works with a drum.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a collation of Phil, Travis Clark, Aaron. I mean, if you taste people's rubs, there are specific things that you taste in that rub.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically took a collation of all those flavors and put it into a rub. And it's got 15 ingredients in it.
Right.
And unfortunately, Clifco is dragging their feet. They're supposed to have it to me next week, though. I was there today.
Right.
They're supposed to have it next week. But man, it's pretty good.
Right.
I've got probably about 3 people that are using it right now, that I'm hand batching.
Right.
And they all seem to be impressed with the flavor, and they seem to be doing okay with it. So
Right. Yeah. Well, you got a second place brisket this weekend.
See how it works.
That's pretty dang good, And my brisket's been killing it. So you up me by 1. That's good though. I mean, it's had to be a good brisket. I've got a pretty strong brisket. I mean, it tastes very, very good. And
man, I'm used to them mid pack. If there's 170 teams there, I'll get a 60 something brisket.
Right.
If there's 100 teams there, I'll land in the 30s and 40s.
Right.
I can never. The first time I used it was Seguin, the Champions Barbecue Awards cook, banquet cook.
Right.
And I got a 16th place brisket there out of 100 and however many teams was there.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I used it.
Wow.
And it's a one and done.
Yeah.
I mean, I put 1 layer on it, and that's my rub, and that's that.
Wow.
And I'm sure that'll change.
Right.
But for now, I'm trying to get all of them other flavors that everybody layers in there
on that 1 rub
into 1 rub.
Yeah.
And man, it's either going to work or it's not, but I'm sure there's going to be other rubs that actually work well with it.
Oh, yeah.
That I'll figure it out.
Yep. Yeah.
My rub and Chicken Fried's rub work superbly together.
I got you.
And it's just one of them things that took me a minute to figure it out, but man, I figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part when you do it yourself, man. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
like it. You know, I do the same thing. I've got a whole bunch of different rubs that I mix up to make my brisket rub, and you know, it just works. I've been running the same recipe since 2018. I'm not about to change it.
And
So
you mix them all together and just shake them once?
no, no,
Oh,
it's layered. It's
you haven't
layered.
gone that far yet.
No, I haven't done that because I like to layer the flavors. So,
Yeah.
but I'll go in, I'll layer a little bit of this, a little bit of
Yeah.
this, and then I do have a couple of them that I blend, put it on, and
Yeah.
but you know, it's part of it. And you're right. I mean, there is a lot to cooking on drums. And it having that steaky flavor at one time, man, that's all they wanted. And now I think they've gotten away from the steaky flavor. They want that more brisket flavor.
Yeah. Well, the pot
Steve,
roast for a
yeah, or
while
the pot
was,
roast, yeah.
oh my Lord.
Steve, you cook on drums, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, have you noticed that the brisket can sometimes come out to have that steaky flavor when you first started, or have you been able to kind of avoid it to where it just has that good beefy brisket flavor?
When I was down on my back and I was doing a lot of practicing at the house in the beginning, I noticed that, so I changed some rubs out, and I've done well on the brisket, in comps.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting how that works, and I tell people that all the time. It's not so much about, we were talking about this last night, I tell people all the time, it's not recipes that wins competition, it's techniques.
Yeah,
Techniques will win you
Oh
more
yeah.
competitions than anything else by
yeah,
a landslide. And I've had a lot of people like, when are you going to do a class? When are you going to do a class? When are you going to do a class? I've been back and forth and thinking about this. And, I mean, recipes are a dime a dozen. Everybody's got them. But the one thing I do have is a lot of techniques because I'm the gearhead that came from the drag racing stuff. And I took a lot of that into my barbecue stuff when I did it. And, I mean, I took off just pretty much, well, all last year trying new things on chicken just because that's the one thing that I think everybody kind of struggled with,
You've
yeah,
got a
and
solid chicken.
and I was getting killed, but I kept doing things and kept doing things all last year with that chicken and getting murdered. It cost me 4 grand champions that I know of. I had a second brisket, second rib, no final table chicken. Second brisket, second rib, no final table chicken, or a 13th place chicken, not enough to get me any points. But I kept doing it and I kept learning different things about it, not only just in the cook, but in the whole process of the prep of the chicken. And I finally just said, look, I need to go back and get on my WSM because that's
yeah,
what I had cooked on for 6 years, and I just wanted to try that transition on a grill. I cooked it on a Weber. I cooked it on an M16. I was cooking that chicken at 425 degrees on an M16. I mean, it was so hot I could see it bubbling underneath the skin. No blowouts, no nothing. Gorgeous chickens.
yeah,
But there was just some certain aspects that the thing wasn't doing what I needed it to do. And I knew what I wanted it to do. No matter what I tried, I couldn't get it there. And it's the technique. So I just finally, the last competition of the year was Marksville. And I said, I'm throwing that stuff away. I'm getting my WSM out. I'm going to apply all these techniques that I had learned. I don't ever cook practice, but I did a one practice chicken here at the house before I went to Marksville. Man, I said, man, this thing tastes pretty good. I only had almost 40 teams. I had a third place chicken, highest chicken call I
nice.
had all last year. And then I go to the next competition, third place. I go to the next competition, the seventh place. I go to the next competition. I think it was another third place. I had a first place this weekend. So it's techniques. And so if I do a class, we're going to talk about flavor profiles, but I'm going to show techniques because to me, I think I can help more people with techniques because that's what wins barbecue. I asked Lee Hickle straight up, what do you
I
think?
agree.
Techniques? And everybody I've talked to now said techniques is going to win you way more than a recipe.
Yeah,
So I may end up doing a class just covering some serious techniques on all three or all four of the meats. And then at the same time, incorporating flavor profiles and stuff like that. Strategies when you're cooking at a place like Henrietta compared to a place like Fort Worth. There's differences when you do that stuff. So a lot of people don't even think about that. So, but you've kind of figured it out. Both of y'all, you had that steaky flavor on your brisket. You didn't like it. You made changes to eliminate it. And there's a lot of people that just don't ever think about that. So, uh, yeah, it sounds like y'all both got it turned on and doing pretty dang well. I know Charles did this
You had a
weekend.
first place chicken at Paris.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the crazy thing. I had a first place chicken there, and that was my second time of cooking on that M6, the third time of cooking on that M16. And I was like, man, this is great. Ever cook off after that? Zippo. And did it exactly the same. Did it exactly the same. I was like, man, I've got this thing. I had like a sixth, I had a first, and then after that, it was all downhill. And I cooked it exactly the same. And then I started like, what the heck? What happened with this chicken? Like,
Man, I'm thinking some of the chickens are changing though too.
yeah.
I think, just because you got that brand,
Yeah,
you don't know where they're getting that brand from.
that's true.
HEB Naturals,
Oh yeah,
they changed up, I think, last year.
they did. I cook Sanderson Farm. I'll tell everybody right off. I cook a Sanderson Farm.
See, and I
chicken.
can't find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brookshire's, which is a chain in Texas and in Louisiana, their brand chicken is private labeled for them by
Sanderson Farms.
And
Okay.
a lot of people don't know that, and I'll throw that out there. I'll throw that out there for you. So if you go and buy the Brookshire brand chicken, you can ask them, what is it on the box? It says Sanderson Farm. I've seen the box. I made them show me the box. They pulled it out. There it was. Private. It's a private label. Yeah. So, and I think it's just, you got to cook the same chicken every time to keep the consistency. I think number one, and Sanderson Farm has really, really good chickens. So,
and size. Try to keep the size comparable.
Yeah, keep the size comparable. Rick's over here telling me to stop, Mike. So, Rick, I got something for you, man. I'll hook you up on the chicken to get. So, anyway. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see. Time to go to Prairie Creek Ranch, all natural process right here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, farm to smoker. Yeah. I've heard some good things about that one. Have you ever cooked that one, Charles?
No, but I heard Oliver was supposed to get some of those this weekend, and somebody forgot them.
Yeah, I heard that somebody was supposed to get those. I think the guy's name was AJ.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was AJ. Yeah, it kind of came up last night when we had our podcast on with the Outlaw. Bobby kept saying, "You got my chicken? You got my chicken?" Well, AJ had, two of them in the freezer for him. And AJ had his
and forgot them.
And he forgot Bobby's. And Bobby walks over there and he's like, "You got my chickens?"
It was convenient.
Yeah, and AJ was like, And he was like, "What do you mean?" He's like,
"Well, the funny thing is AJ felt worse about it than Bobby did."
Yeah, he did.
Because Bobby brought chickens anyway.
Oh, he did. Well, I think AJ said he had two, so he gave Bobby one of them, and they cooked one half. Which that's all you got to cook anyway. You don't necessarily have to cook two. So
AJ had three.
Yeah.
He ended up bringing three for some reason because he said sometimes one of them will blow out or something or another.
Yeah.
And so he ended up giving the other one to Bobby.
He said, "It's time for me to leave the show." AJ, it's fine, brother. Bobby, it didn't matter. Bobby had the good chicken, and his chicken flew the coop yet that weekend. So I heard those chickens.
Well, he got a call for something.
Yeah, he got a brisket call. Yeah. I mean, I was over there sweating because all I'm worried about, I knew that Jeff didn't make. We didn't have it because they didn't make the 15 teams. I was told they only had 12. So going into it, I knew it was just me and Bobby. Yeah, it didn't make sanction. So I knew it was just me and Bobby. So they're calling chicken and they're getting up there and I'm like, okay, is Bobby going to walk or am I going to walk? Is Bobby going to walk? Because I was like, who's going to start this show, right? So they get to fifth place and neither one of us have walked yet. And I was like, okay, I don't know how good his chicken is. And so they get to third place. It's like, okay, let it just be my chicken. I want a third place chicken. I just want to hear my number. We got past
Charles is already out of here because he got 6.
Yeah. And I'm over here going, okay, baby. Then Susan. Then they call second place. And at this point, I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I'm not going to get a chicken call. So now it's going to come down to me and Bobby and stinking ribs and brisket. And I was like, and then they called first place chicken. Susan looked at me and she smiled. She's like, got first place chicken. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So it was fun. So I knew I had 12 points on him right then. So anyway, but it was a lot of fun. And just another good barbecue story. That's right, AJ. Take that one to the bank.
Exactly.
Baby. So, but yeah, I think chickens is one of the hardest things that people have been struggling with. I ask people on this podcast all the time, what's the hardest protein? Everybody usually says chickens. And for me last year, chickens was my nemesis, but I took the year off to try something, and I do not practice at the house. I never practice. I think to me it's just a waste. It don't matter what I think it tastes like. It matters when I go and put it in front of a competition. How does it do at a competition? And if I go to a competition and it gets hammered, that wasn't no good. Let's try something different. So I thought the recipe and the flavor was good, but it's just about that cooking process. So let's see what he says. Chicken should be banned. Yeah.
That is probably the most inconsistent meat
It is.
in barbecue.
It is. It is the most inconsistent. And I think there was somebody on the show that we talked about that here about 2-3 months ago, and we were all saying brisket you can get pretty consistent. Man, my brisket and ribs are just
chicken's
consistent.
all over the place.
And chicken, and that was why last year I was like, I'm going to figure this dang chicken stuff out. I'm going to try some things because I knew it wasn't recipes. Because, man, there's so many good recipes out there. And it's you hit, you don't hit. You hit, you don't hit. So I was like, I'm going to go for the techniques. And, man, it just didn't work, but I knew what I was doing. I was like, if I put this on this drum, I think it's going to work. And now all of a sudden, what was one of my, all over the place, it's been pretty deadgum consistent, top 5, pretty much, every cook-off. So
nice.
So we just need to get one of them Shiggin fried cameras outside your trailer.
Shiggin, that's it. Anyway, but yeah, I think y'all are right. There's a lot of techniques and all that stuff. I think most everybody here agrees. Looky here who we got. Mr. Get Up. Where's he at? Let's all give him some
Get
guns.
up, Chucky!
Get up, Chucky.
Get up,
So
Chucky.
we were talking about you just a minute ago. And left my ass damn Charles. So, oh, goodness gracious.
He's got a good product too.
Yeah, you let me try Doodle Q. You let me try some of that this weekend. Man, and the thing is, I'm like, Suzette was like, you already tried that stuff.
Don't change your chicken.
And I was like, told Suzette, I was like, I ain't changing that chicken. I was like, if it falls off and goes AWOL, maybe then. And it tasted so good. But I got a very simple recipe, and I'm not changing it, And,
nope.
And I'm hoping it stays here for a while. So far, it's been around now since November of last year, and it's still doing good. So, anyway. So what plans you got, Steve? I mean, goodness gracious, man, you got 6. You're going to retire now? I mean, you already got $1,000 in reserve. You got $7,600 paycheck. You going to go out on top, or are we just now getting tuned up and getting started?
Oh, no, we're just getting started. I got, once you do, you have a little bit of success, you're kind of hooked.
Yeah.
Well, now it's time to order some more pets. But baby, they're paid for.
Yeah, they're paid. Already bought them. Barbecue bought them. So, all right, Steve. So what's the one thing, this is going to be really good to hear from somebody that's only got a whopping 6 cooks under their belt, but by God, they've been some amazing cooks. What's the one thing that you think that has really helped turn you around and make you a better overall cook?
I'm going to have to go back with what you said, technique. The courses that I took, I learned from individuals how they were running their pits. How, Adam cooks chicken on a Old Smoky, but I didn't have any experience with drums. So learning how to run those and manage the fire, and then your technique, that's the key.
Okay. Techniques. I believe that 100%.
The Weber Smoky Mountain is the original drum. So
yeah,
there people don't think about that.
Yep.
Old Smoky, it's a short drum.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically it.
Think about it. These are all vertical cookers that people think that, man, how do you keep from burning stuff up? I'm like, but you're cooking right over the fire. And I'm like, man, it just works.
It's just a fire.
I don't know what to tell you.
Manage the fire. I don't care. Manage the fire. So
you don't have to do it with a drum.
Yeah, that's for
Set
sure.
it and forget it.
Yeah. But Charles, you've been around. How long you been cooking, Charles?
Man, my first cook was I had a gentleman, Dino. He was right next to you at this cook.
Yeah. Dino. Yeah.
Dino, the real tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Dino lived over by me, and he used to come over because I grill a lot. I mean, I cook outside, man, 6 days a week at least. I mean, we don't cook inside.
Right.
And I don't care if it's snowing, or raining or anything. I cook outside.
Right.
I prefer that.
Right.
But he used to come over to eat all the time, and he's like, "Man, why don't you go to this competition with me?" And so I went to it's a charity competition. You get to pay to enter, but you don't get anything for prizes.
Right.
And so I'm like, "Do I have to cook everything?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, I'm just going to go cook ribs because I've had my rib rub for, man, probably going on 22 years."
Wow.
Me and a guy in East Texas, Crazy Bob's Barbecue in Kilgore, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We developed this together. He had a base, I tweaked it. So we've had it for a long time.
Yeah.
So my ribs have always been really good. So I'm
Right.
like, man, I'll go, but I'm just going to cook ribs. Well, I've never cooked in a competition, so timeline was gone.
Right.
I mean, I did not get them tender. I mean, they were close, but I mean, they were not as tender as I would have liked.
Right. Right.
But I still got second place
Yeah.
because of the flavor.
Right.
And then my next cook was the Cody's in 2015 for Lone Star.
Okay.
84 teams. It was my second cook. Get nothing in brisket, nothing in chicken. And man, I pulled off a fourth place rib.
Shoot.
But I
Yeah.
mean, I wasn't saucing my ribs. I'm
Right.
like, man, dude, the meat should stand on its own.
Yeah.
But you have to now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You were supposed to back then. And I remember Big Ed, the first time I met Big Ed was like, dude, you got some balls not saucing those. And I'm like, man, I just don't. It tastes fine on its own.
Right.
And so that's the way I did it.
Right.
I mean, there was no wrapping. We didn't even wrap ribs.
Yeah.
They
Just let them go.
they cooked.
Yep.
And we got a fourth place rib. Man, then I went and bought a big fifth wheel and we started cooking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did nothing almost all of 2016. Absolutely nothing.
Right.
I cooked mostly Lone Star, few IBCAs, and we had some big cooks. Panther Island Pavilion.
Yeah.
I think it was 200 teams or whatever.
Yeah.
Pulled off first place rib. 2017, when I go back and count my trophies, I mean, 2017, I had 19 first place ribs. 19.
Wow.
2018, I had 16 first place ribs.
Holy crap.
Man.
And then when
with that rub that you've got now?
yes. And
Wow.
then when COVID hit, everything disappeared.
Oh,
Everybody's flavors changed. Everybody's taste changed.
Yeah.
Everything. And I am just now, this past year, going back to my original ribs.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we were talking about that. I think me and Lee Hickle was talking about that the other day. I think COVID, the taste and everything, that's something people don't even think about. But man, when COVID hit, everything changed. The way you cooked, everything. You better not had a lot of salt on it during COVID. I can tell you that right now. And but now I think people's flavor profiles or taste buds are somewhat back to what they were pre-COVID.
Yeah, Aaron was talking about that because Aaron got COVID, I think, like twice.
Yeah, he did.
And he said he still cannot eat a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Because the salt just kills him.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Same thing. There's a lot of people, but I do think that most of it is it's been long enough now. I think people's gotten their taste buds back. So,
is that thunder in your background? I keep hearing a rumbling, like thunder.
No, I ain't got no thunder. So
it's probably just
yeah. Maybe your stomach's grumbling.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm by myself. By myself. My wife's off it.
Yeah.
For work for a week.
I got you. So the rub that you have now, let's talk real quick about some of your rubs real quick. So you've got a brisket rub.
Yes.
Go ahead and let's see. Have you got a bottle of it?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay,
it's not available yet.
Okay,
no.
You're working on it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's going to be called, I don't know if this picture will show up. I think I tried to show it to you yesterday.
Yeah.
It's going to be called Cattle Crossing. Um, I don't know. Let's see if we can.
Yeah, just try it.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can
figure.
get the color.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
it
man.
just.
Just these cameras, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
we finally got it last night at work. You can
Yeah,
see it. It's a beautiful
for
label.
for
I
a
mean, a
second.
very,
Let me
very
see.
good label. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
There it is, cattle crossing. So that's going to be your brisket rub.
Yes.
All right. And then you've got another one that's called your
the
chicken rub.
which is Firebird.
Firebird. Yeah, this one is really a cool looking label. There we go. Firebird. That's coming. All right. When should those two be out?
So I have not got my samples back from Cliffco. They've had my stuff for probably a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
I drove up there today because I dropped my wife off at the airport in Dallas. So I stopped by Cliffco and picked up enough stuff because I've been hand batching it because I've got, like I said, a few people that are running it.
I got you.
But they promised me, I guess they're going through some sort of an audit or something. Right. Which Dan Arnold told me I should have it in the mail next week.
Okay.
So
good.
Once I get that, my label's already designed. I've got to get the sample back from them to get the nutritional crap that has to go on them. Yeah. And so as soon as they get that mix done, then my nutritional stuff, as long as everything is right, then I send that to my label guy. My label guy puts it on my template and then sends it to the manufacturer that makes the labels.
There you go.
And that's pretty quick.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks probably. Just say 3 to 4 weeks, you'll probably have it.
Yeah, but then
moves a little slower.
Once that's all good,
yeah, you're good.
So until my labels get printed, then they print them, send them to Cliffco, and then I get in line for the rubs.
The rubs.
So I'm probably still a good 8 to 12 weeks out.
8 to 12 weeks. Okay. And then what about your rib? Your rib rub's already available, right?
Yeah, the Hog Heaven.
Okay.
It's been doing pretty good. There's some stores that sell it. Man, I've got 2 stores that have gone through. We just started distributing it towards the end of last year. I'm gonna say September is when we started distributing it.
Okay.
Somewhere in there, September, October. Man, I've got a couple of stores that have gone through over 6 cases.
That's good.
And then other stores don't sell very well.
Right.
I don't.
It's just the
different areas.
When you get more people out there and it starts selling, then once everybody starts hitting with it, that's going to sell it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
It works good on a lot of things, man. It's really good on chicken.
Yeah.
Really
apparently it's really good on ribs too. I can just say.
So my Firebird is based off of this.
I got you.
With different addeds and subtractions. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, man, I hope you guys have a kick butt year. Steve, man, congratulations on what you've already done. That's pretty amazing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Charles, same thing to you, man. I mean, you've been running a long time, and yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more. So, anybody got any questions for either of these guys? I know James asked how many cook-offs. I think it is your 6th cook-off or your 7th cook-off.
It
was your 7th.
7th cook-off.
7th cook-off. Yeah, it was 7th. So,
yeah.
Anyway. Well, we're going to ask a question here, and I'm going to kind of see how this works out. All right, let's get to this question here real quick. Let me go over here and see. First person to get this right is going to get our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. And it's the first person that I see come across the comments, not the first person that y'all see. Because my stuff's in real time. I can only go by what I see. So the first person that gives me the person's name of this question that I'm about to ask is going to win our 20 championship backyard barbecue classes. You're going to get them for 1 month. You'll get access to all 20. So here is the question. Who is the grand champion at the Smokedown Syndicate barbecue competition last year in Fort Worth? And if the person that won it is on here, do not answer. It's not for you. So, who is the person that won the Smoke Show Syndicate last year in Fort Worth? I'm looking for the name of the person. Well, I be dadgum already. There it is, right there. AJ got it. Ricky Bocanegra. So, that's it. All right,
Yep.
AJ, you got our 20 championship backyard classes, brother. So,
He spelled Ricky wrong.
did he spell it?
No, I'm just joking.
I think that's it. Rickey or Y. Yeah, not sure which way it goes, but everybody got it. So, all right, AJ. I can't remember, man, if you've bought any classes from us or not. If you have, I'll get them added to your class. If you haven't, I need you to email me. I'm going to drop my email in the chats. BBQ Champions at gmail.com. We'll see if I get emails, because today Google was really, really nice, and they lost all 6 years of my emails in my inbox on Barbecue Champs. Very pissed off about that. I've had a lot of information and stuff that I've saved. I was on the phone with Google for 3 hours today trying to get that recovered. And then I go log into another one of the accounts. I don't know if y'all know, I used to have a candle manufacturing company. I started in 2006. I logged into that account, and it lost every one of my emails for 18 years. And I had about 1,800 emails that was in the inbox from sources from China and everywhere else. So I have not been real happy for these last couple hours. So I hope that it had to be a glitch, because it did it on 2 different accounts. So hopefully I get your email. So AJ, if you've got a class, you can just email me. I've already got a class, add it to it. Let's see, I've already have the backyard classes. Who came in second? He's already got the backyard classes. Well, there you go. Well, I think the next one that I saw was Erica. Let's go back up here and take a peek-see. Oh, heck no. Please tell me I didn't hit some kind of stupid button that's going to lose all this. All right, let's see what we got here. The next person was RJ. All right, RJ. I'll take Ricky. Email me, bbqchampions@gmail.com. It's in the chat.
There you go, RJ.
RJ, you got it. So email me your first and last name and the email address that you want to use. I'll add them in the morning, and we'll put the 20 backyard barbecue classes in the account. I'll create the account. I'll add them to you. You got 30 days to be able to go and watch them. So congratulations, brother.
Nice. Congratulations.
That's pretty cool. So anyway, let's see who else we got. Make sure I've got all my comments. Where you cooking at again, Steven? Where's your next competition?
I think the next one I'm going to be doing is the one in Pearland on. It's going to be in May, because I'm getting ready to go to Hawaii for a while.
Okay, cool. And what's the question? Yeah, don't worry, Ricky. It really didn't. It wasn't much importance to you of what the question was. It really wasn't. I'll tell you.
Who cries every time the Cowboys lose?
Yeah, who cries every time the Cowboys lose? And the answer was Ricky Bocanegra. That was a good one. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so you're going to be cooking down in Pearland. Charles, where you at cooking at, brother?
CBA event, part of the Triple Crown in Weatherford.
Okay, with Triple Crown Weatherford. All right. Well, we're going to make our little trip down to Marksville, Louisiana this weekend.
I want to do that cook sometime. But it's KCBS, isn't it?
No. It's BCA. This weekend is BCA.
Is this the one that Anna Bryce and them usually? What's the one they do?
Well, they do that one. They'll do the one in Marksville.
No, but what's the one that they promote?
Oh, that's the one that they do. That's
some
in,
big lake.
Lake Merval. It's in Lake.
There you
Merval.
go. I want to do that one.
They're not doing it no more. They quit.
Oh, really?
They hadn't done it the last 2 years.
Everybody says it's really fun cook.
It was fun. It was on a lake, a little town. It ain't much to it. I mean, they don't even have a grocery store there, but It was fun. They had good RV spots, and it was right on the lake. So
I lived in East Texas forever. So Gilmer, Longview, all of that was my backyard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate y'all being on our show tonight. Steve, man, congratulations, man. 7 cooks. You already got $1,000, a reserve, a whole bunch of top 10s, and a big deadgum check that says $7,650.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I
Barbecue Champ
appreciate
Academy
that.
alumni. I love it. We always love seeing these success stories. And
Heck
Charles, congratulations to you too, brother. Thank you for
Thank you.
everything that you're doing to barbecue. We appreciate it. I hope everybody's enjoyed our show. It's been a fun time. Y'all go check out Chicken Fried over there. He's
Awesome.
fixing to get kicked off here in a minute. And Lord willing, we'll be back with y'all next Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern for another live event. We have a lot of fun doing them. We always appreciate everybody's support, being here week in and week out for us. It's always a blast, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it. As we close out our cooking classes, y'all go out there, have a lot of fun.